Hello students, good morning. Today I'm going to explain second part of third chapter, that is fiber to fabric. So students, in our previous video we have studied about fibers, types of fibers means natural and artificial fibers. Then in natural fibers we have studied about plant fibers and animal fibers, and in this chapter we have to study about animal fibers, about wool and silk. So in previous video we have studied about wool. Now in this video we will study about silk. So in silk we will study about silk fibers, then history of silk, rearing of silkworm, then production and development of silkworm, and after this we will study about processing of silk, and at last we will study about occupational hazards of wool and silk industries. So students, first of all, we will study about silk. So all of you know that silk is a shiny, natural and strongest animal fiber. Silk is obtained from the cocoon of caterpillar called silkworm, and the silk fiber is made up of fibroin protein and sericin gum. Means actual fibers are made up of fibroin protein, and then these fibers are glued with sericin gum. So fibroin protein is present in 80% amount and sericin gum is present in 20% amount. Then silk has a natural beauty, and it is often called as the queen of the fibers. Silk fibers are highly elastic, it can be stressed, and it will return to its original shape. Silk fibers have smooth surface which reflect light, and in sixth class you have studied about reflection. So it can reflect light, and this reflected light make the silk fiber lustrous. As we have studied about luminous and non-luminous, just like that, silk fiber, when light rays fall on silk fiber, it reflects light, and just because of that reflected light, that silk fiber looks like lustrous. Then silk fibers can absorb moisture, and it can be dyed easily, means it can be colored easily. Then there are several type of silk, but two forms are the major groups are there, that is mulberry silk and muga silk. Except that, so many silks are there as masoor silk, tassar silk, eri silk, so many type of silk are there. Then mulberry silk is the best quality silk, which is produced by caterpillar of a moth called Bombyx mori. So Bombyx mori, as you can see on the slide, Bombyx mori is written as in italics because this is the scientific name of silkworm. So when we write scientific name, names are in two names, that is genus and species. So either they should be written in italics or they should be underlined. So I have written here as in italics. So Bombyx mori is the scientific name of silkworm. So they lays eggs and feed on the leaves of mulberry tree. That is why the silk is commonly called as mulberry silk. Now we will study about history of silk. So as silk is a weavable fiber, means a weavable means it can be weaved into fabrics, and it was first discovered by Chinese empress, that is Shi Ling Shi, during 2640 BC, and its culture and weaving was a guarded secret, means Chinese kept it secret for more than 25 years by the Chinese. The production of silk in Europe began in 590 AD and around 300 AD in India. Now, silk is produced in Spain, Italy, Sicily, and India, and in so many other countries. But there is a story behind the history of silk, and the story is the exact time of discovery of silk is perhaps unknown, means not known. But according to an old Chinese legend, the Empress Shi Lengqi was asked by the Emperor Huang Ti to find the cause of damaged leaves of mulberry tree growing in their garden. So the empress found that the white worms are there on the mulberry leaves and they eating up mulberry leaves. And one more thing she noticed that they were spinning some shiny cocoon around them. And then after what happened, accidentally a cocoon dropped into her cup of tea, and then it tangle of delicate threads separate from the cocoon. Means when the cocoon dropped her in a cup of tea, then fibers get separated. Then after silk industry began in China, and it was kept a closely guarded secret for hundreds of years. Later on, traders and travelers introduced silk to other countries, and route of the route from there they started traveling. That route is still called as a silk route. So that time silk fiber is was very expensive. At this time also some type of silk fiber are very expensive. After this, next topic is rearing of silkworm. So the rearing of silkworm requires a great care and patience. A female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time, so farmers stored these eggs carefully on a strip of paper or cloth. Then farmers treat the silk moth as carefully as they would a newborn baby. They protect it from mosquitoes, flies, and other insects. They maintain a hygienic condition with suitable temperature and humidity. So we can say the practice of rearing of silkworm for the production of silk. This process is called sericulture. After that, we will study about production and development of silkworm. So the female silk moth lays eggs on mulberry leaves, from which after hatching of the egg, larvae come out, and these larvae are called caterpillar. These caterpillar eat only fresh mulberry leaves. At first, when they come out from the eggs, they have very enormous appetite, means continuously they eat a lot mulberry leaves. That's why the silk farmers supply mulberry leaves at every 2 to 3 hours. Then they grow in size about 70 times to their original size. And then they shed their skin 4 times while growing. Means when they are growing, they shed their skin 4 times. When silkworm grows completely, it stops eating, and now it is ready to spin its cocoon. So these silkworms secrete saliva. What they do, they secrete saliva, and the saliva is made up of a fibrin protein. So on exposure with air, this saliva get hardened and become silk fiber. Now the caterpillar cover itself by silk fiber and turn into pupa. Now this covering is called cocoon. So the cocoon spinning process can take 3 to 4 days. This is the third phase of its life cycle. It has started from silk moth, then silk moth lays eggs, then caterpillar come out, and after that caterpillar feed on mulberry leaf, then they secrete saliva, and then they form cocoon around them, and now the caterpillar turn into pupa. Now the pupa become a moth in 3 weeks and completes the life cycle. When pupa changes into a moth, it bursts the cocoon. Means when pupa changes into moth, it grows in size also. So obviously, when they have to come out, they will burst their cocoon. So when cocoon burst out, when cocoon gets ruptured, all the long silk fibers get broken down into short fibers. So that is why farmers allow only few pupa to change into moth, because farmers have to take out good quality of silk fiber. That is why they allow very small percentage of silk moth to silk pupa to changes into moth, and rest of means most of the pupa are killed by dipping in hot water or a hot oven to get long fibers from cocoon. So this is the Life cycle of silk moth. You can see adult moths are there. Then it will lay egg on leaves of mulberry trees. Then eggs get hatched and caterpillar larva will come out. Then this caterpillar larva spins silk fiber around. This silk fiber is actually the saliva of the caterpillar larva, and then it changes into pupa, and after that pupa is changes into adult moth. This is the life cycle of silk moth or silk worm. Now, next is processing of silk. So, processing of silk means extracting silk from the cocoon. When we extract silk from the cocoon, this is called the processing of silk. So, processing of silk has four processes. First one is reeling, then second one is boiling off, then third one is throwing, and next one is dyeing. Dyeing means coloring, and next one is weaving. So first we will start with reeling. So after the pupa are killed by workers or farmers, then workers soak the cocoon in boiling water. So what happened why they soak the cocoon in boiling water? Because silk fiber is made up of fibroin protein and it is glued with saracen gum. So whole silk fibers are glued with saracen gum. So when they soak the cocoon into the hot water or sometime in the hot steam also, then the saracen gum loosens and that silk fiber get separated. So initially the melted saracen glues several silk filaments into a single thread which is wound into onto a reel. So later the silk is removed from the reel. That is why this process is called reeling. And after that it is twisted into small coiled bundles. Next one is throwing. So throwing means the raw silk is strengthened by a series of process called throwing. Throwing is increasing the twist and adding strands and twisting them together. Means first so many strands are twisted together. During this process, four types of silk strands are produced, that is organzyme, crepe, tram and thrown singles. Next process is boiling off. So after the throwing process, workers boil the silk into a hot soap solution which contains soap to remove the saracen. Now saracen gum is removed. This process is called boiling off. Last processes are dyeing and weaving. So after this process, silk fibers are dyed. Dyed means colored into many shades, and then they are sent to the mills for weaving process. So silk fibers are woven on looms, just like for the processing of cotton or wool. Now, next, uses of silk. So all of us know that silk is used in making fashionable clothing. It is used in making so many types of dresses, curtains, draperies, cushion covers, sofa covers, etc. Then silk can be used in summers as well as in winters. Then it is used in many types of natural fibers or synthetic fibers to to achieve new effects in clothing. In fabrics means new experiments about fabrics the designers can do with silk. Then silk is also used in making bulletproof vests and parachutes, etc. Next one is occupational hazard in wool and silk industry. So what is occupational hazard? Occupational hazard means when anyone is doing any job in any particular industry and the risk or the danger faced by that particular person, means all the dangers or risks faced by workers in any industry, that dangers or risks are called occupational hazards. So some of the occupational hazards which are generally faced by wool and silk workers are, so first one is sorter's disease. Sorter's disease we have discussed in the previous video also. It occurs generally in the sorting department of wool. The workers who work in sorting department, they get infected by one bacteria, that is anthrax bacteria, which is present in the wool fibers, which is a very fatal blood disease, and that disease is called anthrax disease or sorter's disease. So it occurs as lung, intestine, and skin infection. Then silk workers who process raw silk often suffer from asthma and respiratory diseases caused by inhalation of vapors from boiling cocoon, poorly lit or poorly ventilated units. Then workers need to dip their hands frequently in boiling water to check the silk fiber, which causes burning of skin or blisters or open injuries. Then they have to stand for a long time, which causes pain in their legs and sometimes so many type of other problems as leg deformities also. Then continuous exposure to the noise of a spinning and winding machine results into hearing problems. So these are the occupational hazards which are generally facing by workers who work in silk and wool industry. So students, now third chapter is finished. So please do watch the video carefully and write the important things. So prepare this chapter and study at home. Thank you.